Hello, welcome and thank you for joining another review. This time it's the Dji Mavic Mini. What I want to really look at is it going to be the perfect solution for if you're a motovlogger or if you're on the move and you need something quick to take aerial footage or to take footage which is some of areas which are away from you. So I think it's going to hit all the buttons for especially motovloggers or for people on the move, but let's dive in and have a quick look. So first off the bat, I'm really interested in getting a drone to help me on the road for motovlogging and especially for the Mali Rally, which is coming up in September. So the key points for me are that it's mobile, it's small, it's not too expensive, or it can fit in either a pannier or small into a rucksack. It's got to be easy and quick to use, have the maximum amount of flight time. And the big one for me, which I think is applicable only for the Mavic Mini, is there's no licensing required, although you do need to adhere to the guidelines as per the drone rules. So let's have a quick look. I've got mine in my own case. I've got a number of these cases for camera equipment and for GoPros and for others. So all my cases are the same and I label them up with a reflective label so you can see them at night, etc. with the torch or anything. So opening up the case, you have the drone, which at the moment is held with the blade elastic band, which is one of my pickup points, which I'll come on to. You have the handset with the screw-in joystick pieces, which I've left on, which I can do in my case, but they screw in underneath the controller. The connector for your iPhone or for your other phone, the charging cable, and I've got a spare battery as well, so I double the flight time. On the other side of this as well, I've got cables for any other adapters and phones, so I keep all the drone piece in this one small handy pouch, which it does fit. It meets one of my requirements for fitting into a pannier or a tank bag, or I can take it really easily in a rucksack. So looking at the main drone, you'd think that it's going to be pretty weedy and pretty brittle, but having flown this, as I don't know if you saw on the drones and scones video that we did, this flew off in high winds, and that's one of the negative points, is it doesn't take to using in wind very well, but it does do considerably well when the wind is quite light, and it is more robust than you think. So I've crashed this 3 times now, and when I say crash, I've properly hit it into the ground hard because I lost control, into a field, not onto concrete, but all the blades still remain intact, and it didn't have any damage on it at all. So it's worked really well. It's got this case on the front to protect the gimbal as well, so don't forget to take this off. It will remind you on the app, but it's easy to overlook and then take off, and you can't realize why your gimbal's not moving around. So make sure you take this plastic cover off first before you do anything. It's also got a not as powerful sensor as the other Mavic drones, but what it does do is shoot in 2.7K. So I think that's enough for what I want to use it for. My videography and footage skills are not good enough for you to notice whether I'm using 4K or 2.7K. So you've got to take a hit somewhere at this price and at this size. So I think that's an acceptable level of resolution for the videography that I want to capture. The still images as well are not in RAW, so I think they're in either ProRes or very high res JPEG, I think, but I'll clarify in the comments below. What you do have on the back here is a charging port and access for your micro SD card as well. One of the other negatives for this is that it does take an exceedingly long time to charge. I think one battery takes around 2 to 3 hours to charge, hence I bought a separate battery, so I've got an extended flight time, which brings me on to the maximum flight time of around 30 minutes for one battery life, which is much better than my previous drone experience. So I've got 2 batteries, so I should have about an hour, depending on the wind, depending on the conditions, about probably 45 minutes in reality to an hour of flight time, which is great. A lot of people complain that there's not a lot of manual settings. As you can see from the app, you can change what's called the EV setting. So if you want to turn off auto exposure, what I recommend you do is adjust the EV settings so to keep that constant and to make sure that your exposure is set throughout the filming process. One of the big things that really worked for me is the 4 settings. So if you're alone, and a lot of time as a motovlogger or someone that's doing a lot of self-imagery or by yourself, so you have the 4 settings which are really useful to use for this type of drone. You have the rocket, the circle, the helix, and the droney setting. The rocket goes as you would think goes vertically high and to the highest maximum point that you set it, and then back down to the height that you originally took off at. So that will do that automatically over a period of around a few minutes, so it gives you time if you want to do something on the bike or something by yourself. You get all that time to work out. You can see the example on the screen. With the circle, you can set the drone to the height that you want to circle at, and you can select the target of where you want it to lock on and the distance away, and it will circle at that height and that distance away from the target that you're focusing. The helix will be very similar to the circle, but it will expand its circle and going like a funnel shape into a helix as again come back to the point of origin. And the droney will go off at an angle, and I think it's 30 to 45 degree angle, and then come back down to the subject as well. So if you're by yourself, you can use these settings to get some good footage of yourself. I don't know actually that, because it does focus on a target, whether you could ride at slow speed and it may follow you. It doesn't have a track function, but I haven't tried that, so I may try that in my next outing. Going very, very slow, it may be able to keep its lock on you and monitor you. I'm not too sure. Just on the controller, I have changed the case so I can keep these the joysticks onto the controller, which is nice. So I don't have to keep screwing them on and off. And the position in here, which you can see in the previous footage, I keep this cable on so I don't lose it, and put the phone in. One thing that has been a little bit annoying, when you put the phone in, you can't unlock it with your thumbprint if you've got one of those phones, or you have to turn it for facial recognition if you want to get into the app. I've had no problem with the Wi-Fi connecting. I've no problem with it returning to me at all. I'll probably show you the clip if I have it here of me losing the drone. So we just tried to take the drone off in this wind, and we went straight up, and it went straight off to the side and into that field, across a load of stingonells, I think, into a field to try and get it back. So, not a great start. Yeah, it flew up and went straight over to that field and crashed. No, I got to go over this. So I need you to watch me in case I fall over and die. So. Yeah, but eventually we got it back, and we managed to save the day with the drone, but we've tested it in some pretty windy conditions. One tip for returning the drone, if it does look as though you can't return the drone, rather than trying to navigate the drone sideways, which is more difficult for it to do, you should point the drone towards you and then fly directly towards you. It seems to navigate much better, whether that's the aerodynamics of the body trying to shift through wind sideways or through its horizontal axis, and it seems to be more streamlined in that regard. So if you do get in trouble, make sure you fly it in that direction, turn it towards you and return to home. Unlike other drones, it only has sensors in the base of the drone here, so anti-collision here, so it will hit something either these angles. I think that's a plus actually for me, because all I'm going to use it for short trips or for small angles, so if I can drive through things as well, I don't have to turn off any anti-collision, which is great. I'll try and test the anti-collision. In fact we could test it in here. Why not? What could go wrong? Make sure my Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are turned on. Phone in, DJI app loaded up. Gimbal cover, I forgot it. I'm gonna try and land it on the desk. It's about to hit something, so grabbed it. So all in all, it's a perfect accompaniment to those that are definitely on the move. 2.7K, it folds up into something less than the palm of your hand. It comes with spare blades. It fits into a pocket size compartment. It's got unbelievable flight time for the size. You'll see the footage that on that small piece of B-roll that we put on the start and at the finish, so you see what it can do. And I don't think, because of the the non-licensing requirement is definitely a winner, and at the price of around £370, it's just a no-brainer. If you want to add something to your arsenal and you want to have a bit of fun as well, and if you do lose it or it does break, it's not the end of the world. It's a really, really good. Oh, we're going to take this out on the boat next week and see how it does. So if you like this review, please like the video, please leave a comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.